Lesbian detective. Unsolved cases. She's still missing. Yeah, they haven't found her yet. Well, let's talk about it.
They say he vanished without a trace. Could it be a psychotic break or a tragic accident? Police don't know where the body went. Unsolved murders, body still missing. That's unheard. Where's the witness? Lesbian detectives, what's going on? City on high alert, this out the norm. He did what, the who? Man, that ain't real. These crimes ain't true. Then come uncover these theories with us. We live right now, tuning.
This is Lesbian Detectives. I'm Sierra.
And I'm Elizabeth.
And we are here talking about missing and unsolved murders.
We are discussing cases that you have forgotten about or never even heard of.
So sit back, relax, and let's start this podcast. Welcome back, everybody. Welcome to a new episode on a new week. And let me tell you something. Me and my wife, we're going through a lot. Basketball season has begun, and our favorite players, aren't on the team they was last year. Mine went to Chicago. I'm like, why?
Mine went to the Valkyries.
But the Wings this year looks kind of good.
Looks promising. They got Paige, AZ, Alana.
Hello. It's just Alana.
Hello.
But
they got Enrique and who else do they have?
They got Maddie. They got Jessica. They got, what's that girl name? It started with an A. They just signed her today. She's like a vet. She's very good. The Aces look good too. Oh, they got a lot of heavy hitters. The Lynx.
There's a drama with the Aces though.
Really, yeah. The Lynx don't look good this year. So we're just going to I feel like the Lynx probably make it to the playoff, but I don't think they will do good.
We'll just have to see.
But I mean, they still could trade people on their team like during the year, so we don't know how everything go. DJ Nate, go back home. Like, forget the money. Go to a good team. But yeah, I kind of got called out last week. You know how we always do cases of like Black people, Hispanic, different races, and we talk about how the police don't really look for those young ladies or young men.
Mm-hmm.
And one girl called me out. She like, it doesn't really matter about the race. I like, sometimes it does. She like, but there are also white little girls and white little boys that have low income family and don't have the resources like other people do. I'm like, yeah, that's right. She's like, well, you need to find a case like that. I'm like, well, wait a minute, calm down. And you know what I did? I did find a case like that. Now let's say my favorite line. Now let's get into the episode. Some stories don't begin with anything unusual. They begin with a normal day. A kid at a friend's house, hanging out, listening to music, doing the kinds of things kids do without thinking twice. For a little while, everything feels simple. Then it's time to go home. It's not far, just a short walk, the kind of walk that happens every day in neighborhoods just like this one. No one expects anything to go wrong. But this time, something does, because she never makes it home. At first, it's confusing. Then it's concerning. And before long, it becomes something much worse. Days pass, questions start building, and then answers finally begin to surface. They only make things more complicated, because what should have been clear isn't. What should have been taken seriously isn't. And what happened that night becomes something that no one can fully explain, even now. This is the case of Sara Kay Keesling. Sara Kay Keesling was born on July 19, 1976, to her mother, Lori. By the fall of 1988, she was 12 years old, living in Riverside, California. People who knew Sara described her as smart, someone who loved to read, and could be extremely thoughtful. But her life wasn't easy. Her parents were divorced and locked in a custody battle over Sara and her siblings' Lisa, and Jimmy. And multiple people in her life knew one thing very clearly. Sara did not want to go to her father's house. Her father, Paul, who went by Ed, was someone she actively tried to avoid. In fact, Sara had a pattern of running away to escape court-ordered visits with him. In late September 1988, it happened again. On September 29, 1988, Sara showed up at her friend's house. She didn't announce she was coming. She didn't tell her family where she was. She just knew she didn't want to go where she's supposed to be. She stayed there the entire weekend, quietly, secretly. According to her friend, the weekend itself felt normal. They didn't go out. They stayed inside the house the whole time. They ordered food and spent hours watching MTV. They played dress up, put on makeup, and teased their hair. Sara loved heavy music, and that weekend she fully leaned into that identity. She wore a black dress, a black sleeveless top, black lace stockings, and a black bra. She even borrowed black boots to complete the look. It's a small detail, but it matters because that outfit is what she will be found wearing later. On October the 2nd, Sara left her friend's house to go home. Her friend walked her half the way, stopping near the corner. From that point, Sara's house was less than a half a mile away, close enough that nothing should have gone wrong. That was the last confirmed sighting of Sara. She never made it home. Sara's mother, Lori, actually reported her missing before Sara even left her friend's house because she knew Sara hadn't gone where she's supposed to that weekend. In the report, her mother made something very clear. Sara had run away before to avoid visiting her father because she didn't like her father. When Sara didn't come home on October the 2nd and didn't call anyone, which she usually did, Lori knew something was seriously wrong. She searched everywhere. She drove all over Riverside and surrounding areas. She talked to people, followed every lead she could, but no one had seen Sara. 11 days later, on October the 13th, a hiker made a disturbing discovery near a water reserve. The area was known as an illegal dumping site. Sara's body was found face down. She was partially buried under trash, a broken wooden table, a green garbage bags filled with rotten food. This wasn't accidental. Someone had deliberately tried to conceal her. There was more details that stood out to investigators. A knotted cord was found laying across her back, just below her neck. Tire tracks were documented at the scene. The location itself was remote, suggesting her body had been transported there. And still, despite all of this, the case did not move in the direction you expect. Because of condition of Sara's body, the medical examiner could not determine a cause of death. They estimated she had been dead for 8 to 10 days by the time she was found. Parts of her body, her left hand and foot, were missing due to animal activities, so officially her death was ruled undetermined. And that decision changed everything because instead of being investigated as a homicide, the case stalled almost immediately. By the time Sara's body was found, investigators did not connect her to the missing person reports filed by her mother, despite the fact that her mother lived just 7 miles away. The identified victim was described publicly as a teenage girl, possibly between 15 and 18 years old. Sara was 12. Her mother learned about the body through a newspaper. When she went to the sheriff's department to provide details information, including Sara's dental records, they had confirmed the identity. Her mother said when she was told, she collapsed. She also told investigators who she believed was responsible for her daughter's death. But she was told there wasn't enough evidence.
This is where the case becomes even more troubling because Sara was labeled. She was a runaway. She came from a broken home. She had family problems. Teachers had described her as someone who gave either 150% or nothing at all. Someone who had started skipping school. Someone who, in other words, seemed to be running away from something. But instead of asking what she was running away from, the narrative became about who she was. There were suggestions, never proven, that maybe her death was tied to drugs, or her behavior, or something she had done. The subtext was clear. Maybe this was her fault. For decades, Sarah's case received little attention. No arrests were made, no major updates, and incredibly, her case wasn't even consistently highlighted as an active cold case. Meanwhile, her family and friends were left with questions that were never answered. In 2019, a man named Daniel Johnson was hiking near the same water reserve where Sarah had been found. He saw the site and immediately thought of her. He later texted his sister, Jamie Johnson, saying he always thought of Sarah when he saw the hill. He went to the local library, pulled old newspaper clippings of microfiche, and sent them to her. For Jamie, it brought back everything. She later said Sarah's death was the most enduring grief of her life. Jamie reached out to Sarah's sister, Sara Kay Keesling, after more than 30 years. Together, they pushed for the case to be reopened. After years of persistence, in 2023, the Riverside County Regional Cold Case Homicide Team officially took another look. This time, investigators came to a different conclusion. Sarah's death was a homicide. They believed the location where her body was found was a secondary dump site, that she was killed somewhere else and then moved. Investigators re-interviewed witnesses across the country, even traveling to New York to speak with her father. They re-examined forensic evidence, and according to those closely involved, they were able to rule out all but one person. Despite that, no charges have been filed. The district attorney cited insufficient evidence, and that's the reality of a case like this. After more than 30 years, evidence degrades, memories fade, witnesses disappear. What might have been probable in 1988 is much harder to prove now. Investigators still consider Sarah's case an active homicide investigation. They continue to follow up on leads and potential witnesses. And the people who knew Sarah, her sister, her friends, are still fighting for her. They've said from the beginning, Sarah's death should have been treated differently, taken more seriously, investigated as what it clearly looked like. Sara Kay Keesling wasn't just a runaway. She was a 12-year-old girl navigating a difficult life, doing the best she could to feel safe. She was failed by the systems, by assumptions, and by a lack of urgency when it mattered most. After all these years, one question still remains. Who made sure she never made it home? Before we end this case, I want you to think about Sarah for a moment, not as a headline, not as a case file, and not as the labels that followed her for so many years. Sara Kay Keesling was 12 years old. She loved music, she loved dressing up, she loved laughing with her friends, and finding small moments where she could just feel like a normal kid. She was navigating things no child should have to navigate, doing her best to feel safe in a world that didn't always give her that. And somewhere along the way, she was failed. Failed by assumptions, failed by missed connections, and failed by a system that didn't fully see her for what she was, a child in danger. What happened to Sarah wasn't just tragic, it was preventable. And that's the part that stays with you. Because even now, decades later, we're left with more questions than answers. We know she didn't make it home. We know someone tried to hide what happened to her. And we know, without a doubt, that her story deserved more attention than it was given at the time. But what we also know is this: she hasn't been forgotten. The people who knew her, who loved her, who remember who she really was, they're still fighting, still asking questions, still hoping that someone, somewhere, will come forward with the one piece of information that finally changes everything. So if you were there, if you knew Sarah, if you remember anything, even something that feels small or insignificant now, please say something. Because after all this time, the truth still matters. Justice still matters. And Sara still matters. This is the case of Sara Kay Keesling. Now let's get into some theories.
Let's get into some theories. Let's get into some theories. Everyone is a suspect until proven guilty. Let's get into some theories. Let's begin detectives. What type of thoughts you thinking? What theories running through your mind? I'm thinking all types of suspicion. Uncover the truth, what we can find. Witness say they saw somebody creeping out the back door. What you think they did it for? That's so crazy, I'm not sure. They found a car, where could she be? Here go another puzzle piece. Researching through your history. It's plenty unsolved mysteries. Everyone is a suspect until proven guilty. Let's get into some theories, yeah. Let's get into some theories. Let's get into some theories. Everyone is a suspect until proven guilty. Let's get into some theories. Let's begin detectives.
You or me?
Good.
Okay. This is the first time I really, really want to go first. Reading this case, it made me sad because it seemed like something was going on at her father's house. Allegedly, I'm going to say allegedly, it seemed like he probably was, touching her inappropriately, or he was abusing her. For her to keep running away and not going to that house, she was doing it for a reason. And I don't like my dad. She didn't feel safe with her father because she would run away from his house, but she would come back to her mom's house. So it's like, it's kind of weird that was happening. Even when you read and her teacher said, like, it seemed like she was running away from something. And they didn't check on and say, hey, why is this little girl that's 12 years old, used to be, like, is so smart and, like, she going out a wrong path. Instead of a teacher saying, hey, let me take the time to see why my student is going down this wrong path. But they're like, no, like, she's okay. Like, she's skipping school. She's doing all these things. They did not care because it seemed like somebody in their little girl's life needed to check in on her because it seemed like she was struggling. Because as a mother, if my child don't want to go to your house, it's for a reason. And my child is not going over there. And I understand the mother, it was court order. So she couldn't stop because she would have to go to jail. But for her daughter to keep running away and not going to that father house, something was happening in that father house. We don't know what it is, but we all have a thought or an opinion what it might be. And then I have a question about the friend mom or father, whoever was staying with the friend. If my daughter friend came to my house and stayed there for a weekend, first of all, I'm calling the mom like, hey, your child is at my house. So a 12-year-old couldn't hide in my house without me knowing that a 12-year-old was in my house. So like she can't say, oh yeah, like I did not know. Ma'am, that's kind of weird that you didn't know, like, or you didn't call her mom and say like, hey, your daughter's at my house. She's going to leave this day. She's going to, I don't know. It was kind of weird that the other mom didn't call Sarah mom and let her know that she was there. That's kind of weird to me a little bit, but that was back in the 80s, so I don't know how that was parenting back then.
Yeah. I want to know what the father's reaction was, knowing that his daughter had passed away or was murdered. I know you said that you think that he might have done something to her, abused her, either physically, mentally, sexually. Like, there was something that he was doing that she obviously didn't like. So if we follow that theory, I'm thinking, what if he found her, like, she was supposed to go to his house, and he was probably pretty tired of her not being compliant, right? An abuser is always going to want to have that hold, that control. So what if he found her on her way back and he was like, nah, like, you're coming with me for whatever reason. Maybe he kidnapped her. And then if there was some type of abuse going on, maybe he took it too far and then, she passed away. But that's, my theory is it could be him, he didn't take it lightly. And then just like I mean, if you're not experienced or I don't know, you freak out, you're gonna try and hide the body, and you probably don't think it all the way through, or you just in a rush to try and get rid of the body. I don't know. But I mean, it is unfortunate. I know that they were talking about, I mean, I kind of don't really blame the police for not taking it serious because she did stuff like this all the time. So, like, I mean, it sucks, but being labeled as runaway, or I know it said also that maybe she was like on drugs or something, like people like that, the police officers are not going to really take as serious. And,
Right.
you know, the first 24, 48 hours are like the most crucial. And we don't have that information, and nobody really like takes the time to make an effort to try and find her. Like, it's gonna slip through the cracks. So it is very unfortunate that she was troubled, and then, you know, we're still seeking justice.
I mean, yeah, it took them a long time. Even when they found her body, it was like, oh, it's undetermined. She wasn't a homicide. To me, how her body was found and where it was, how you don't consider that a homicide? Like, she had a cord on her back, like tied into a knot that seemed like somebody tied her up.
Mhm.
Like, what are you talking about? Like, they just really like push her aside. And I hate that she was labeled, because she was labeled as a runaway, a bad kid, all that stuff, the police didn't care. And I hate that, because even if they are labeled that, to me, you have to still do your job. You still have to get up and find the person who hurt that little girl. Because at the end of the day, she was 12 years old. She was going through a lot mentally and physically. Like, we don't know what was going on in her father's house, but some stuff was going on. Even like I said in the beginning, her teachers didn't care. They're like, oh, like, she could give 150%, but she was going through all this stuff and she was running away from something. If you knew that as a teacher, why you didn't do something? You knew your student was like, I'm not getting back into that. But your point, I like the father, like her siblings was staying with him. And what if like he dropped them off? Like her friend said, I drop her off at the corner and it's like half a mile to her house. She wasn't far. What if he saw her like driving by and she was dressed a little different? Like, she wasn't dressed like her normal self. She was like really dressed up. What if that provoked him, like what the blank are you wearing? Like, take that off. And she probably, went off on him, got a little smart, and he probably put her in the car and drove off and took, I don't know how far his house was from her house or how far his house was from the dump site. That's an important detail.
Mhm.
But he probably got mad. I mean, that is. And then it's also a stranger. Like, she's walking by, because the police even the police thought that she was older than what she was, how she was dressed and everything. Like, they thought she was 15 to 18, but she really was 12. But it's like, I don't know. It's just, I'm sad that it took so long for the police to care. And I still don't think they care. I really don't get that feeling that they care. I feel like, oh shoot, like they messed up back then. Now we have to fix their mistakes. But you guys aren't still fixing their mistake. Like, it took you how many years to figure out, like, oh, like this little girl was a homicide. And I wonder, like, I know she was buried. I wonder if they can re-examine her body. I know it's been like over a couple of decades, but I wonder if that is possible, because I know a lot of bodies are getting re-examined. I know there is a possibility, but I don't know. I gotta look more into detail in that. But that is our case, guys. I mean, we have two theories: the dad or a stranger. And yeah, I think that's our two theories. But this is Lesbian Detectives. We are on all podcast platforms, also YouTube, also social media. So give us a 5-star rating, and also like, comment, and subscribe. Don't forget, everybody's a suspect.
So proven innocent.
Bye.
Lesbian detective. Unsolved cases. She's still missing. Yeah, they haven't found her yet. Well, let's talk about it.
They say he vanished without a trace. Could it be a psychotic break? Or a tragic accident? Police don't know where the body went. Unsolved murders, body still missing. That's unheard. Where's the witness? Lesbian detectives, what's going on? City on high alert, this out the norm. He did what, the who? Man, that ain't real, these crimes ain't true. Then come uncover these theories with us. We live right now, tuning in is a must.
Right now, lesbian detective, lesbian detective. We about to start the show, so get your popcorn ready, let's go. Pay attention to the message I present to you, the lesbian detectives.